I hear the train a-comin', it's creaking round the bend. Should have been here at 8:30, and now it's 10:30. It's the first grade Western, trudging down the line. Yeah, the first grade Western, it never runs on time.
Ooh, London Victoria. Not Paddington this time.
The Afternoon Tea Express.
Oh, they have a golden arrow. Ooh, I wonder if that's part of the museum. Oh yeah, it's pre-British Rail. So, to those of you who haven't guessed, yes, I'm at the famous Bluebell Railway in East Grinstead. This is their far-end terminus station, and they connect right up to Network Rail from here. There's their original notice of closure. See, I think it's funny they have that there being a preserved railway. I think it's kind of flexing on Network Rail. Haha, you can't close us. Now, on this particular day of my visit, they were holding a special event, and more on that later. Wines and spirits first. Now, unfortunately, Bluebell's out of ticket. Looks like they're raising funds for that. To my viewers, I highly recommend donating to these types of preserved lines, because donation's what makes things happen. So the first train that came to meet us was their 1950s train. So in this particular day, they had 4 trains out, and they're all from different decades. So here we are on the inside of a Mark I brake coach. So the locomotive is just running around as you saw, and it's pulling us tender first. The engine there is a 5MT, so 5 power rating mixed traffic locomotive. And theirs is special because it has a name, it's Camelot. And the coaches it's pulling are a consist of Mark I's, so these were the British Railway's standard coaches of the 1950s. Oh, hello. here we go, inside the longest preserved railway tunnel in England. Whew. Across the platform from us at Horsted Keynes was their 1910s era train. So this locomotive is a Southeastern Chatham Railway H-Class of 1905, and it's painted up in its 1905 livery, and it just looks beautiful. Over here is a much more modern locomotive that's out of ticket. Those were built shortly after World War II, under strange circumstances. Those were built during the war, but they were called U-boats, so I don't know how well that went over. The 1910s era train again. Those coaches are all the compartment style ones. Notice how much larger the first class compartments are. These coaches would have probably been ex-London Southwestern Railway, hence the one at the end's got that sort of interesting color scheme to it. Ooh, Camelot's leaving! Now that's a crane and a half. I think the idea is that the hook gets to the accident before the rest of it does. As I say, there are 4 trains out, and so before Camelot can leave, the train at the other section has to come through. With the 1930s train having gone past, the 1950s train can now proceed. And since the line's still occupied, the old age class just sort of waits. Very beautiful engine to look at, though. Just all the brass fittings, all the hand-painted details. Really nice. I don't know what it is, but steam engines just sound so relaxed when they're sitting idle. One of my favorite things about Bluebell specifically, though, is their amazing collection of 19th century passenger coaches. They're all beautifully restored and they run them very frequently. They've got a large selection, a very large collection of them. However, these things are very difficult to maintain, so they have to spend a lot of time and effort at Horsted Keynes in the carriage shop, making sure that they're all beautifully restored. This one is a London Brighton South Coast 4-wheel coach that they're getting ready for part of a vintage train. They do all kinds of different coaches here, like this is one of their 1930s trains. It's very nice. They pay a lot of attention to detail, and I think it really shows in the way these coaches look. It's just absolutely magnificent. There's a new project over there in the background. Also, can I just say that British Royal coat of arms are just, like, wild. Oh, hello.
Who's gonna make it?
Arthur from my daddy. I've seen them come up this way. Was there a way to go under that way?
No, I hope they do.
So at Horsted Keynes this day, they were holding the Road and Rail steam engine event, and they had an absurd number of traction engines out running around, and it was all kinds of fun. This video is already getting kind of long though, so we'll have to wait for part 2 for that one.